Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to my channel. Welcome to another video. In keeping with the momentum of the past two videos, we're going to continue on and talking about the 12 steps of the 12-step program. Whether it's Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, it doesn't really make a difference. But needless to say, step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Right? Again, collectivist group setting. Right? What it's saying is this is what the group of people did in order to achieve success in overcoming their issues. Right? Problem solving. That's what we're here to do. Problem solving. So, in keeping with the tradition that I've set forward, making this about personal accountability and responsibility to oneself, I put it in the first person setting also. Right, so made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood Him. And I think I've made it pretty clear as to what or who that God is to me. You know, I put principles before personalities, or principles before ego. At least I try to. Nobody's perfect. But the principle or spirit of step 3 is faith, which another word for that is trust. If you have faith in something, you place your trust in it. Alright, so again, we're taking steps forward in the pursuit of problem solving. So in step 1, we came to an honest realization that there's a problem. It is causing us unnecessary suffering, and that we would like to overcome that issue. In step 2, we developed a hope that some power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity or clarity, unity, wholeness, oneness, right? And then in step 3, we make a decision on if we would want to keep moving forward and trust this process and to turn our will and our life over to the care of whatever God or higher power it is that we have chosen or that we're looking up to. And basically that is aligning one's will with the will of their higher power. So, for those who trust in nature, that would be aligning their will with that of natural law. Those who have listened to Mark Passio, watched his videos, consumed his content in any way, will know that that's one of the core principles that not only I teach about, but he teaches about as well. And a quote that I like to share with other people by one Sir Francis Bacon is, nature to be commanded must first be obeyed. Quote by Sir Francis Bacon. Now, oddly enough, if one goes to an AA meeting and picks up one of those little AA chip or coins, whatever you want to call them, there's a quote from Sir Francis Bacon on that coin as well. To thine own self be true. So needless to say, the principles of AA are in alignment with the same principles of Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, and a lot of occult traditions. Again, I mean, those who have listened to Mark Passio and listened to the stories that he's talked about, the traditions that he mentions, one of the core principles, the first step in those occult traditions that they teach is stop lying to yourself, and then from there you can move forward, right? But we've already moved past that. Step 3, faith and trust. So we've developed that honesty about the problem. We've developed some hope about a solution. And now it comes down to the leap of faith that one needs to take in order to keep moving forward. If they're unwilling to place some trust in a process and unwilling to let go of the selfish ego and unwilling to move forward beyond their own self-will, then there's no point in moving forward, and you might as well stay stuck in whatever problem it is that you have. I mean, if you could solve the problem your way, you probably would have done it by now, right? At least that's kind of the principle of this. So it's, if you really want to get out of the problem, you kind of have to let go. You have to let go of what it is that you think that you're capable of doing on your own, or like they say in AA, go try some controlled drinking. Go and continue to try and do it your way, and when you've had enough, come find us. The particular group that I used to go to is, they used to say, when you're done beating your own ass and you feel like getting some help, come find us. And that's basically it. That same group also used to have a step 1, 2, 3 meeting, or they still do. It's a step 1, 2, 3 meeting, to constantly, once a week, read over, the first, second, and third steps in the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's another book where it goes over the principles behind the steps and kind of gives a little allegorical storytelling as to why these steps are crucial, why they are so critical to developing an accurate and consistent and really helpful program to oneself and everybody else. A successful program of really developing the core values that it's trying to give to the reader, to the sufferer, right? So, made a decision, right? So, what I did was I made a decision that I was going to align myself with natural law to the best of my abilities and strive for progress on a daily basis. And when I've backslid on that, I've suffered, unnecessarily I suffered. But at the same time, that suffering that I incurred unnecessarily was necessary for me to learn, and I mean, I didn't quite gain my full spiritual awakening, which is actually an ongoing process anyways, but I didn't gain that whole experience directly from AA. We went from AA to various other things, learning to tune in to what other people had to say, learning to develop empathy for other people, and learning to really just let go of what it is that I wanted. And again, I'm not perfect on these things, and nobody's expecting anyone to be perfect at these things. But if you're gonna judge other people for being imperfect, you better be perfect yourself. We've talked about that one, But step 3, it's all about faith and trust and making a decision to do something different, right? So let go of your own selfish will of trying to solve the problems your own specific way, trying to solve the problem without caring about other people, whatever the problem may be. We made a decision to turn our will, or my will and my life, over to the care of whatever God it is that we can conceive in the moment, right? Nature, the sun, Yahweh, Jesus Christ, Buddha. I don't think it matters. If it did, there wouldn't be such a varying degree and array of faiths in Alcoholics Anonymous. And if it really mattered that much, then, the people in Alcoholics Anonymous that aren't of a specific inclination in any sort of spiritual teaching, they wouldn't be successful at developing these principles or cultivating them, cultivating character assets, they call it in AA, and really bringing them forth and letting them shine, for all to see, and yet not really boasting about it either. So, the takeaway from this is that sometimes, even if for the time being that higher power you conceive is simply just somebody who's already made their way out of whatever problem it is, if you're going to make it out of the problem, you have to put some trust in something other than yourself to get out of that problem. We've seen that, or we've seen or heard of that allegory of that sad person, down in a hole, right? Who's sad and can't get out of the hole. Person saying, help me, I don't know what to do. And then along comes a person and sees the person down there and decides to jump down. Now, this person over here starts freaking out, like, oh, dude, what are you doing? Now we're both stuck down here. Then this person comes along and says, no, you're wrong. I've been down here before. I know the way out. So that's ultimately step 3, right? Is that person's willing to help you out, or that being or whatever is willing to help you out. And you have to really believe that they're willing to help you and that they're there to help. And from there, make a decision to put your trust in them. And once you do that, ultimately, this person can help you out, right? And who knows, that person might just be carrying the spirit of love and truth and freedom. That spirit of unity. They might just be carrying that and you don't even realize it. But then, all of a sudden, they help you out of that hole. Now you're both free, happy, joyous, and free from that bondage of the dark pit of despair, so to speak. You made it out of that hole. And now you're both free, right? He helped you, which ultimately brought him happiness and brought you happiness. And then now you know how to get out of that hole. So if you ever come along and find your way out of that hole, then you can help other people and find that same happiness and joy. So, that being said, In the spirit of step 3, faith or trust is what we're looking at. We're looking at placing our faith and trust in something outside of ourselves, which ultimately will reflect back inward on ourselves anyways. Because sometimes the solution to a problem that we created with our own self is found outside. So I hope you guys like that. Thanks for your time.